Our next masterclass will focus on building reliable and scalable payment platforms. This masterclass is your blueprint for crafting payment systems that are both dependable and capable of growth. This will equip us with essential insights and best practices to design and maintain adaptable, secure, and robust payment platforms, regardless of your industry. Let us learn more about this from Saiprasad Nabar, the Chief Platform Officer, NPCI, and Sateesh Palagiri from NPCI. May I welcome both on stage, please. Thank you.
Good afternoon. We also have Anu Ramakrishna with us. She is in charge HR transformation. How she is relevant to this, you'll get to know. Which one is this? Yeah. Sorry.
So just to start, see that when we are building such high platform UPI with high volume, so three things are more important. One is of course the platform, second is the process, and third of course the human resource when we say the people. So we'll cover all the three aspects in the presentation, and after the presentation if there are any queries we will take it. Okay?
Yeah. You all know UPI success, but I would like to get you through some numbers. Till now, from April to now, we have processed 48 plus billion transaction of and worth of 75 trillion rupees or dollars. No. The next thing is daily we process around 380 million transactions a day, right? That are financial transaction. The system also processes equal number of non-financial transactions. When you say non-financial transactions, it's balance inquiry, customer onboarding APIs, right? And out of these 380 million transactions, 58% transactions are merchant transactions. Another 42% are P2P transactions, right? So if you see in 17-18, UPI started with a 4% market share. These are all the products if you see on the right side. So we have credit card, debit card. What is the market share of each instrument? That's what you can see there. But if you see over the years, UPI has become the most preferred payment model, right? With 68% of the transactions, 64% of the transactions are happening on UPI and growing more. When you talk about when we want to do systems like UPI, right? So what we are talking about is digital public infrastructure, right? When we talk about digital public infrastructure, when you talk about these larger rails, we talk about larger systems like Aadhaar, NPCI, okay, which are not-for-profit organization created by the government of India and taking the digital transformation ahead in India, right? The second part is, first part is the intention, second part is the deep tech, right? Whatever we do today, technology plays a major role, right? So more and more open source softwares are coming, community is contributing more towards open source softwares, and at NPCI, in the last 6 to 7 years, whatever we build by using the open source softwares. We don't use any commercial softwares, right? And we also, the open source softwares also, what we take is, we take the commercial community build and then use it. When you want to do that, right, you need to have enough expertise to take care of the systems, right? One is you have enough expertise, and second is you should have the mentality to collaborate with the partners, collaborate with the open source community and take their help. You should not be ashamed of asking for a help, right? If there is something you're stuck with, right? There is a large community ready to help you, right? So that's how we have so many partners here, so whom we depend on. The system is, today the system is built to process billion transactions a day. We are at almost 400 million transactions, right? And if you talk about non-financial and all that, we are already clocking around 750 to 800 million transactions a day, right? So the next aim is that we are looking at more numbers, like how do we take the system to the next level, right? Third is the ecosystem builder. When you talk about ecosystem builder, we have a government which is promoting digital transformation, and also we have a progressive regulator who is supporting all these innovations. Whatever we did, like we have full support of RBI, whatever we do UPI, you talk about BBPS, whatever we do. And also we have in India, like, we have tech partners who are very tech savvy, and then, like, we have a lot of entrepreneurs who are ready to chase their ideas, right? So, and yesterday and last 2 days, you have seen, like, how many startups have come up in the last 1-2 years. So, if you talk about, so what we have done here is, like, for a platform or to be so successful, right? So, we have built the platform, like unified payments layer, that's the platform that we have built. And both the sides, on the acquiring side and on the issuing side, right? On the acquiring side, the accepting channel can be anything today, right? You have mobile apps, internet banking, feature phones, any channel. On the fund side, right? On the fund side, you have any, like credit, saving, credit line, prepaid instruments, like all of things are allowed, right? So that is the innovation that UPI is getting to you. That the layer is providing you the full freedom to innovate on both the sides, on the acquiring side and on the issuing side. We would like to present UPI architecture, the way the UPI architecture is done. So there are multiple layers, right? L4, L7, and then the application layer, and then the persistence layer. But the transaction completely gets processed in the processing layer, which uses only the in-memory databases, and we don't write anything to persistence, right? We use Cassandra as persistence, but we don't write. In the transaction processing, in one financial transaction, we have anywhere between 14 to 22 API calls with the number of, there is a 4-party model, right? Transaction comes to us, we go for translation, then we get the response. You go for fraud solution, you go for HSM, then you go for debit, and then you go for credit. Once the final confirmation comes back, you tell both the parties that the transaction is complete. So in a full transaction, we have 22 API calls in one transaction, right? And then, like, so all this, the complete transaction is processed in memory, and once the transaction is complete, after that only it actually goes to, through Kafka, it is sent to back office in real time for the fund settlement between the banks. The customers are realizing it in real time, but between the banks, we settle every 2 hours once, right? So today, with the volume of 380 million transactions and then an equal number of non-financial, we are processing, the system is processing anywhere between 7 to 8 billion API calls a day. So when we talk about the layers, the L4, L7 is there, and then we have the transaction processing layer, and then we have 2 different types of persistence. One is in-memory processing, where the transactions which are in flight are kept, and also we have, like, some kind of validations that we do, and then the transaction, once they are complete, we actually write to persistence and send to back office. These are the open source softwares that we use. Everything is community versions, right? And we very well reach out to many tech partners and then the open source community whenever we have some problem. So some of the design principles that we follow, so whatever NPCI, you also know that it's an entity which is connected to the banks and partners, and then whatever we do, the first and foremost thing is interoperable. When I say interoperable, then, like, one bank customer, you being able to use the services of the other bank. And whatever we do, our core principle is that it should be interoperable. Second thing is unbundle. Like today in UPI, we provide so many API calls, and then when we come up with new features also, we provide new APIs. So these are all separate microservices so that you can innovate on each service separately. Balance inquiry is different, onboarding is different, account identification is different, customer lookup is different, and then payment APIs are different, right? Scalable via design, so you all know how successful UPI is, but when we want to, every layer in UPI is horizontally scalable, right? So if you want, today we have processing capability of around 25,000 TPS, right? And if I need to process another 10,000 more, we just need to throw more hardware at it. Once we throw more hardware at it, the transactions can be processed. We need not touch software as such, and minor improvements, that's all, right? resilience is very important, saying that now UPI has become a lifestyle. Nobody carries their purse outside. So if UPI blips for 10 seconds or a minute, people start fighting. So it's so much responsibility on us that we need to keep the system up and running all the time, right? Privacy and security, safe, secure, and simple, right? So how do you get the trust of the customer? The customer must trust the system to use, right? If he don't trust the system and he has one bad experience, he'll not use it again, right? Today we have 350 million users on UPI and growing more. We have so many feature phone users and then some part of the smartphone users still to come on it. So I think security is more critical, right? Trust is one more thing, like, between entities. Today, we have around 470 banks in the system, right? So connecting to every bank securely and safely is very important. Open APIs, as I told you, today, what NPCI does is, as part of the UPI, whenever we want to get to the new feature, we release an open API. The APIs are consumed by the banks and the partners, and further, ahead of that, they can innovate whatever they want over that. So the current system that we run, so we have 3 data centers. UPI runs from 3 data centers, and currently if we evening times it is like 10,000 TPS is the peak load that we run. 3,300 transactions run from each location. At any point of time, if one of the site goes down, the transaction processing automatically moves to the other 2 sites, right? The other thing what we are depicting here is you have those tick marks, right? So every layer, it is auto-recoverable, right? Every layer is horizontally scalable, and at any point of time, if one load balancer goes, the transaction moves to the other side. If some of the processing units goes down, the other processing units take over, or the other side take over. So that's what we are trying to depict. Every component is fail-safe, automatically recovered, or that processing moves to the other side without impacting the customer service. The customer is able to do the transaction, right? So this is what 3 different sites working, processing 33% of the transactions.
So in addition to this, see, when we say here the site 1, site 2, site 3, it doesn't mean that the volume is distributed. So what always we do a fail-safe, wherein the one site will take the entire traffic also. Okay, so basically each site is X. So at one particular time it may proceed X by 3, X by 3, X by 3, but each site is X.
So what we do is the way sir explained, so though we process 1/3 of a transaction, we consider a scenario where 2 sites are not available and only 1 site is processing. So each site of UPI is able to process 2x transactions. Though it's processing 1/3 now, each site is capable of processing 2x transactions. Come on. Okay, all right.
So these are the design principles we do normally for all our system, but now I'm specific to UPI. We are active as across the 3 sites, but we always see what is tomorrow. Okay, today is 1 billion, tomorrow it might be 10 billion. So we can add 10 sites anytime. Okay, so 10 sites, it will work, active. Second is the resiliency across each component. Okay, so we have the resiliency across each and every component. So if one component fails, another takes over. Second, fault detection and auto recovery. So we have a health check mechanism for each and every component. So if one component, even the 1 component or 2 component fail, we immediately transfer the traffic to other. Okay, so there is a fault detection and auto recovery for each and every component. Transaction footprint in the multiple system to handle catastrophic failure. Okay, so this is an important point. Normally people depend on the systems are dependent on synchronous replication. So we have a transaction footprint in every system component. So there is no data loss scenario, and we believe in the replication, not of the synchronous, but it is a no native replication. That is our theme. Use more memory, less disks. I think we all do in-memory processing, okay, and we use the less disks. And throttle protect ecosystem. I think this is also the very important concept. So suppose the ecosystem fails. So how do we protect our system? So we have built intelligence to detect the slowness and the unresponsiveness of other system, and also to make the transaction fail, because if the other system is failing, it should not create the ecosystem. So because of this, we have a deterministic result to the end user. That is, deemed acceptance we have reduced considerably by this mechanism. So whenever there is a failure in the ecosystem, we detect it through a coding mechanism. and we don't forward the transaction to them. So the back pressure is reduced. So no trust policy for the exchange and storage of the data. So data in motion or data in store, it is all encrypted, signing, all this is there. So it is a secure transfer. Continuous integration and deployment. So all our things, we do the fast rollout of the project and we use the CI/CD cycle. So that results in the fast deployment. Observability and deep metrics. So again, this is very important criteria. We do the deep metrics of each and every component. So if you want to handle the volume of this system, it is necessary to have a deep metrics and at each and every stage. So we continuously look out the new technology initiatives. So today it might be Cassandra, but we see that, okay, how to reduce the network calls. Tomorrow we may not use Cassandra, but do that fingerprint detection in our memory, in-memory protection. So what is relevant today may not be relevant tomorrow, and what is relevant tomorrow may not be relevant in future. So it is a continuous evaluation stage we do when designing our systems. Faster to go to the market, so because of this design we have used the common code across our products. So you see yesterday we launched 4 products. So entirely is configurable, so it results in the faster deployment of the products. And other important part is we have a FRM mechanism, fraud mechanism, EFRM enterprise. So every transaction will go to EFRM. So it will go on the basis of the rule score also and model score also. So the risk evaluation is a part of the transaction processing.
I'll take this. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. First of all, let me thank my co-speakers, Nabar and Sateesh, for having me join this masterclass. I mean, these are the masterminds. But I'll do my best. So this is how we have been seeing how the reliable and scalable platform has been built up around UPI, and how UPI has been scaling new heights every day and achieving many successes and many more to come. It's needless to say that our employees have been at the center of this entire success story. However, it would be more apt to say that our workforce model has also been evolving over the years. We have been learning, deploying, implementing the learnings, and that's how we come to NPCI Workforce 2.0 model. And today we are proud to say that we are a builders community. We are building for a meaningful purpose which goes much beyond just numbers and scales. And it's a beautiful amalgamation of emphasizing on deep tech skill sets, domain, capabilities that allows us to do what we do on a daily basis. So it's a beautiful combination of IT architects, data scientists, IT operations, full stack developer, the entire circle out here. People who can dream it, who can conceptualize it, create it, enable it, and then support the entire ecosystem around it to execute on a daily basis at the scales that we are talking about. And to say that this has been done overnight would be a complete farce. Like I said, it has been developed over the years. This has been achieved through focused interventions around talent development and culture building interventions across the organization. We emphasize a lot in having deep tech capabilities across the board, in all functions, in all departments, and a lot of talent development interventions have been designed around it. Learning and education opportunities, a lot of learning platforms where people can learn on the go as per their own comfort while they are implementing such prestigious and important assignments and projects. At the same time, also ensuring that we take the entire ecosystem together, that has been a part of core of what NPCI does. So the entire culture around the organization is emphasizing on these values of innovation, of allowing people to experiment and still move forward at a fast pace, because that's how the ecosystem is. At the same time, allowing a lot of collaboration to happen. And while we have been picking up a lot of talent, right from fresher to experienced people from the market, a lot of this has been happening throughout the organization to multiple relearning, upskilling interventions, and that brings us to Workforce 2.0.
So just to summarize, see, for this it is like a combination of 3 Ps. One is a good platform, scalable and reliable platform. Second is, of course, the process, the change management, DevOps, how you implement it. So it results in a faster rollout of the products. And of course, the third was the human force, how we retrain them, reskill them, enhance their knowledge, make their rule change. And all those things are very important. All these things go together. And it is not that one will replace other. Okay, all these three things are very important. And other important part is that always we should be in a learning stage. What is relevant today may not be relevant tomorrow. So whenever you are thinking, it should be a long-term thinking. Are we really the tomorrow when the, say, UPI volume becomes 10 billion? Will be this the right technology? We cannot decide at that time. We should experiment new things, always try to do benchmarking, trying the new things, new technology, and risk taking is a part of the life. Okay, we should do that. And that results in a good platform, and that can be sustained over a long period of time. There is no rocket science in this. It requires all the three combinations to build and do simple things in a simple way. That would be a great. Thank you.
If there are any questions, the masterminds are here.
Moderator here.
Okay, I have quite a few. I'll ask a few here and then maybe chat with you folks offline. One question I have is, how does the versioning of the protocol itself work, and how do you work with the various ecosystem players to roll it out? Is it always that you have UPI 1.0 and then 2.0, and how do you manage that, or are you also releasing kind of minor versions and there is incremental change?
So, we want to be more disciplined. We know what pain this causes, right? See, but then UPI being so dynamic, the changes are coming so fast, right? With new features coming in. The way we do things today is like we have new versions coming in, but we have backward compatibility for a period of time. We say like 6 months or 1 year, the backward compatibility is there. And then after 6 months or 1 year, we give a mandate that this cannot be happening anymore, right? Being said that, the second thing what we look at is whenever we release new versions, right? The top 10 to 20 banks, if you take top 20 banks and the 5 players or 10 players on the other side, they constitute 90-95% of the volumes. So what we concentrate is we try to get as much as possible these entities onto the new version, right? So that lot of backward compatibility translations are not happening on the central system. That's how we normally try to do that. Yeah.
So in addition to this, of course, the technology part would be there of certification, bringing back to the certification only once they are certified. I think more important is that when you are designing the system, you should also see from the, like I gave the example of throttling or this, we should also see we should avoid trying too many changes in the bank system. And that's very important, and that's where the design comes in the picture. Because too many changes, it takes time for the bank also. Then bank has their own mechanism of making the changes. So, and also talking to them. I think that is the great thing to have. We have different teams are there. We collaborate with the teams. We also collaborate with the ecosystem wherever such changes are to be brought. It is a well-thought process. It is not that we dictate thing. It is a purely, so when I think when there was mentioned democratization of the UPI, one of the slide, that top slide. I think that part says that when we are democratizing it, that is not on the, only on the implementation. It is on the every aspects of the.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.